going? You sure it's going? Okay. So a few years ago, I started reading in the Bible about Matthew 25, and there's a parable in there. Does anyone know what the parable is? Any of the kids over here? Yeah, you can just take it out of there and just move it around. Does any of the kids know the parable of the sheep and the goats? You guys, anyone know anything about that? Anyone remember? Any of the adults? Oh, let me do a video check here, Dad.
Hold it.
Take it out of there. Just take it out of there.
Hold it right there.
Okay.
Is it going?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, Greg, go ahead.
It's like talking about people who thought that they knew Jesus, but they didn't really, and then those who were kind of surprised they knew Jesus, but they did based on their actions.
Yes, excellent. So, what is God concerned about? Who is God concerned about? Is he concerned about rich people that have tons of food and they got everything they need? He loves them, but is he concerned about them? Huh? No. I see the heads. No. No, God's concerned. He says it over and over and over again. He's concerned about the oppressed. People that can't pay their bills, that are struggling, they're oppressed. They're working too much. They're tired. They're run down. He's concerned about the hungry, right? And then who else is he concerned about? Widows. Who said that? Oh, Nathan. Because widows. The hungry, the sick, the widows. And I said one already, the aliens, the foreigners. My family came from Greece. They're foreigners. A lot of people watching this video will be in the country of Greece, by the way. That's one of the reasons I shoot it. Like I said, the hungry, okay, just from the Matthew 20, so not Matthew 25, there's the aliens, the widows, and the orphans, thank you. And then in the Matthew 25, there's 5 of them. There's the prisoners, the sick, the hungry. Help me.
The weary?
Huh?
Is it the weary?
No, that's another one though. You come to me, all of you who are weary, and I will give you rest. But you know, and so, Jonathan, you're in the ministry. Come on. The hungry, the sick, the thirsty, the naked.
The poor.
Huh?
The poor.
The poor, yes. And the last one, I think we said, is the sick. Okay, we got them all. We got them all in there. Someone can reference check, fact check me later. And so this is what God's concerned about. So if we love God and we're followers of God, what are we going to be concerned about?
So like hungry and tired and naked.
Exactly. And so I thought about, well, how can I change my life in order to love what God loves and to be concerned about what God's concerned about? And I was just at a prayer walk. I was rounding the bend of the garden, and I remember looking in the garden. I said, oh, the garden. I could feed people with the garden. And the garden grows thousands of pounds of food. And then a bunch of us like to play soccer, so we got together to play some soccer. And so that's for the foreigners, the people that, what is it I say every time we play? God's concerned about the is it the lonely? No, it's the poor. No, it's the foreigners. Oh, goodness.
We're to welcome the foreigners.
Yeah, we're to welcome the foreigners, and that's what your ministry is about. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. And so people that are new to the country. So in the soccer ministry that James and Nathan and I are a part of, we've had people from 93 different countries in Nashville come and play soccer with us.
That's awesome.
And then, and the list goes on and on and on. But today, we're here to talk about the garden ministry. And so in this garden, if you look out there, you have a good view, Jonathan, but if you haven't seen, you can look out there, and what do you see?
Lots of plants and soil and
But
dirt.
you'll recognize one of the plants.
Corn.
Corn. Yeah, the corn is shot up like crazy. So we've been really blessed with a lot of rain. So it's tons of really good food out there. And we grow thousands of pounds of food. So we've been blessed in this location, really by the providence of God, with alluvial bottom soil. Does anyone know what that is? So by waterways, the water will flood and push silt and nutrients onto the land, and it filters down through. And so you have this accumulation of really amazing soil. So out there you'll see soil that is unbelievable, and it grows food like crazy. And the food is very nutrient dense. So there are a lot of people with cancer that have the disease called cancer at Fellowship Bible Church, and they come here to get nutrient dense food. So their doctors, because their doctors tell them to do that. And I brought some of the nutrient dense food here, and I want you to pass this around and eat it. That's butternut squash. You might not, then this tomato got smushed, but it's still going to be good. And then the okra you can eat. This tomato, save the seeds from that. And then this one I just put out there as a joke. It's a hot one. I'll put it here though.
James will take it.
James, what, James? Oh, okay, James. Well,
You and I will.
yeah, we'll nibble on that later. But pass this around and eat it. And you can eat the okra. You just bite it, and you can cut it with a knife if you want. And so what I do a lot of times when I'm out in the garden is I eat a lot. And you know why I eat a lot out there? It's good for you, and it gives me lots of strength. And so that tomato is going to be good. Someone needs to pop that in their mouth.
Anybody want the tomato?
And you know, kids these days, the kids these days like vegetables.
I mean, some do.
Yeah, most kids hate them. So like 2% of people's diets is vegetables, and 1% and half of that is ketchup. I'm serious. So 1% of the diet that people eat is vegetables, and vegetables where you get all your micronutrients. And so cancer is a disease of nutrient deficiency, and you know, and I get in the prayer ministry, I see a lot of people that are sick. We pray for them, and a lot of these diseases are diet-related diseases, and it's, you know, we know it's epidemic. We know the obesity, and so when I started eating food from the garden, I lost 85 pounds and started playing soccer again. I was about 51 years old, and they were going to
ask how old you are right now?
I'm 63.
He runs around with everybody in soccer.
And my knees, they were going to replace my knees. I went to the top doctors in Nashville, and they said, "Oh yeah, you've got bone on bone. You know, it's coming, and you know, we need to basically replace your knees." And I said, "Well, no, I don't want to do that. I like my knees." And then I changed some things in my lifestyle, and within about 24 to 48 hours, the pain totally went away.
Really?
Yeah, and I went from, I mean, we're talking like almost walking with a cane to playing ball again.
Wow.
And so you don't see that on Google. You don't see that on it. You know, the AI is not telling you to do this, but this is what Paul experienced, and so I try to share it with others. And so we have a lot of cancer patients that come and get food, and the food is performance enhancing. You will run faster and jump higher if you eat really wholesome food. And so a lot of the problems that we're having with the food supplies, you see this here, what is this on the back of every food package?
Nutrition information.
Yeah, supposedly nutrition information. But I always told my kids when they were going to school, I said, I don't want you to have the right answers. I want you to ask the right questions. And what's missing from this representation of the health of this food?
How it's grown.
Yep, how it's grown. Yep. There are other things in food, like the nutrition is maybe in the food, but how do you get it into your bloodstream and into your body? What does that work?
Digestive system.
The digestive system. Ah, you got it.
Your gut.
Your gut. And what do you mean by that?
Well, all the like flora,
Yep.
the bacteria that's there,
Yep.
the acid balance.
The viruses, the bacteria, the fungus, the organisms. You have organisms living in you, and that can be really scary. And then with COVID, all this got kicked into high gear. We're sterilizing everything. But everything you buy in the store is sterilized. Did you realize that? And so you're not getting the organisms, and you're not getting the enzymes, and they're the ones that do the heavy lifting. So in order for you to absorb, like the vitamin A, say, in this food, there's an organism that has to make that bioavailable. And it's prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Great things to study, guys, in your homeschool. And you'll run faster and jump higher. You'll have fewer pimples. You'll have, you won't lose your hair like some of us. I think. Oh, you're good, man. Yeah. And, you know, that's a good thing, right? You know, it was great having hair. I had an afro. And look at me now. And so all these foods, you're not learning about the organisms and the enzymes. And so I read this book by T. Colin Campbell called Whole. And it's this guy figured out how not to get cancer. It's all over the internet. Everyone knows it, but they don't want to hear it. And so he wrote the China study, and he wrote this book called Whole. And on page 99, it talks about enzymes. And it's amazing. I mean, it's just, I learned amazing things from that book, and that sort of got this ball rolling. And then I learned a lot about soil. So if you look at history and you look at the Bible and you focus on the word soil, S-O-I-L, you learn incredible things. You know, there's a guy that was a man, who was known in the Bible as a man of the soil. And then all throughout the Bible it says, God says, I will bless your land and make it fertile and make it produce. It's talking about blessing the soil. And then I was studying and reading, because I retired at age 39 in 2001. And so I had a lot of time and I was sick. You know, I was not healthy. And so I figured out, it doesn't do any good to have all this savings and all this wealth if I'm in pain. It doesn't help you much, does it? It's not much fun. You're no fun. Your kids look at you and go, he's no fun. And I was no fun. I was miserable. I was in pain all the time. And you know what? People that are in pain, they don't look happy. So I decided to study the soil, and I figured, well, this would be really easy. You put in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and you've got great-looking plants. Job's done, right? That's what I thought. But why was I wrong? Because the food tastes horrible. So how did that food taste that you guys ate?
Good.
Very good.
How did it taste, Marshall? Good.
Who ate the tomato? And how did that taste? Was it as good as the ones in the stores or better? So I have all the kids, we have summer camp, we have all the FSM people here, and I have all the kids come forward that hate tomatoes. And I give them a cherry tomato, and I say, well, what do you think? And they go, wow, this is great. Why doesn't the food, like this and taste like this in the stores? Because when you take food and you grow it with NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, it tastes like cardboard. And it looks great. Okay? But when you grow it in nutrient-dense, living soil, it has all the micronutrients, and your tongue and your palate can taste the difference. And so what happens is you feel very satiated. So when I'm out in the garden, I'll be eating. My jaws are going, and my hands are moving, and my feet are moving. I'm watering, I'm planting, I'm doing all that stuff. And I move with great efficiency in the garden. And I'm perpetually fed. I just keep eating and eating and eating. And it's amazing. It's amazing how much energy and how much how you feel so much better. And that's how I lost all the weight. Is I wasn't hungry all the time. And if you study the Bible and you study history through the lens of soil, you might come across this book by Charles Mann. You can just watch a 15-minute YouTube video on it, and you take a picture of it before you leave, of both of these books. And you just watch a couple of minutes on YouTube, and you'll get the gist of it. So he went down to the Amazon rainforest, and he noticed that there were millions of people there, and they were really healthy, and they had amazing gardens and farms. And so we know it as the Amazon rainforest. But do you think the soil in the Amazon is good soil? No. Horrible soil. Yes, that's what I thought. It's horrible soil. But what they did is they perfected a way of doing soil amendments to help the soil be fertile, and it's called biochar. And so basically, when I grow food, I'm not growing plants. What do you think I'm growing?
Fruit and vegetable.
Yes, that's true. But what am I? Abstract yourself from that. What needs to happen before the fruit and vegetables grow well? What needs to happen beforehand? Yeah.
Planting the seed.
Huh?
Planting the seed.
That's good. That's a good answer. Yeah.
Good soil.
Good soil. Yeah. What does that mean, though? What is good soil? You're exactly right, James. What is good soil?
Soft soil that.
Ah, yes, soft soil. And that brings me to my soil probe. It has to be soft. But what makes the soil soft?
If you break up it.
Yeah, you break it up with a tiller. Yes, that is important for killing everything on top, but that actually makes the soil hard. And I'm going to explain that when we go out there. But what makes it good soil? Okay, Mom.
Decaying plant matter.
Decaying organic matter. Yes, over there.
Like once you dig it all up.
I'm a little old, so you have to speak up.
Like once you dig it all up and pat it down.
Yep, dig it up and pat it down. Yeah, that's important. That's important. We're going to learn how to do that. But what makes the soil good?
Bacteria.
Yes. Oh, I like you. You must be Bernie Van Hall's grandson. Bacteria. Yes. And what else besides bacteria? The clue is it's in your gut too. Fungi. Yeah. And worms. Yes. Yes. That's a great answer. Worms. What do? They dig. And when they dig, it gets loose. Yes.
They poop as well.
They poop, yes. They do poop, yes. And so what's happening in the soil is all the same organisms that live in our gut that cause all these nutrients to get into our blood and into our body parts and stuff, those organisms change the food we eat into everything we need. And they live here. There's 5 trillion of them. It's sort of a guess. But there's a huge amount of these organisms. They're organisms. I know that's harsh, but they're not parasites. They're beneficial organisms. Okay. But in the soil, we have the same beneficial organisms. So this is a plant root right here. Sorry. And so when this root goes into the soil, these organisms come and attend to it, and they say to the plant, "Hey, we want some sugar because we eat sugar." Does anyone here like candy? Yeah, you like sugar too. So in Greg's world, it's all about the currency, the yen or the Great British Pound. But there's a currency in nature, and you find it in honey. You find it in flowers. These flowers put out sugar. The bees come and pollinate. So there's a workforce in nature with the bees and the organisms. So all these fungi, bacteria, viruses, worms, aphids, and there's millions of them. They say to the plant, "Hey, we'd like some sugar." And the plant says, "Well, I need some boron, some phosphorus, and some copper, and some iron. I'm starving. You got to take care of me, and I'll take care of you." It's a bit like when you send out your brochures, you raise money, I need this, and you need this. Let's do it together. Let's be a team. And I contribute and keep up the good work. But that root needs those elements, and the organisms bring it, and they can bring it for miles on the hyphae, which are the fungi. And there's this fast. And so what I thought was just NPK ended up being something much, much bigger. But it helped me to run faster and jump higher. And I've since learned what a prostate is, and I really like my prostate, and I want to keep it. So I want to take care of it. And so I looked up all the reasons why we get prostate cancer, and one of them is micronutrient deficiency. And so not eating your fruits and vegetables. So now I still might get it. You might be hearing my prayer request next week. I don't know, but so far everything works, and I'm happy for that. And I didn't even know what that was a while ago, but now I do. So it's all part of being healthy and growing as young children and as old people. And old people need nutrition too. But you'll find that when you go to the drive-thru, that food tastes a lot better. It's highly palatable. I mean, really, really tasty. And it's been engineered in a laboratory with chemicals. And you guys, your moms and dads tell you this all the time, I'm sure, to not be very nutritious. But we love it, those candies, those M&Ms and the Skittles and the whole thing. It tastes better than, this little piece of squash. If you put Skittles there and you put squash there, the Skittles will be gone first. And so we find ourselves in this evil paradigm. So there we are. And so that brings us to Genesis in the garden. God created man and he put him where? In the garden. And why did he put him in the garden?
So that they can eat healthy.
A little louder.
So that they can eat healthy.
Oh yeah, so they can eat because they have everything they need. Is God gonna, is God gonna like, make a car and like put it in the bottom of a lake? No, because it would rust. It wouldn't run. You can't drive a car at the bottom of a lake. He made man and he put him in the garden, and then he would meet with him in the cool of the evening. So it would help our relationship with God. But one of the things that doesn't help my relationship with God I'll back up. One of the things that happened is we ended up having the curse. The garden was cursed. And what was it cursed with? Sin, yeah.
Hard soil.
Hard soil, yes. And what else? What other curses do we find in the garden?
Thorns.
Thorns, like those prickles, that stick in your hands, and thistles. And so what happened is Adam and Eve sinned and God cursed the garden. And so now when we go out to the garden, we see all the glory, but we see a lot of problems too. One of the problems we have is the weeds. And so I have very sophisticated and expensive equipment to deal with weeds. And then people use chemicals to deal with weeds, but the chemicals cause cancer and we end up in a big problem. And so we're dealing with weeds a lot. And it's also, there's bugs out there that bite you. So you see my trousers here. Does anyone know why I did this?
They won't get inside.
Huh?
So they won't get inside.
Yeah, the buggers won't. Yeah, they go up my pants, and you know where they go? Well, I can't tell you where they go. They go into really naughty places, and it hurts. And you can't scratch in public because you can't. You just don't do that because the kids will laugh at you, and they won't play any reindeer games with you. So then I've got long sleeves now. Do you know why I'm wearing long sleeves? Because I was waking up at night scratching my arms, going, "Oh Lord, help me!" And the Lord said, "Cover your arms, dude. What's your problem now?" There's all these poison ivy, there's poison oak, there's poison sumac, there's all these plants that I'm allergic to, perhaps. I don't even know what they are. And then I'm running these machines, and all this is flying up in my face, and so that brings me to cortisol cream and Benadryl cream. And then this is just for pain. It just numbs away pain. So, I pray and God answers prayers, and I go to Google too, and I get those. But basically God has shown me I don't need any of that if I just put on some gloves and just dress right. And I wake up early in the morning. I wouldn't go out. That's why we're meeting in Summerlin. Yeah, thank you. And so I would never go out at 2 in the afternoon, but we will do it. And but there's a lot you can do before you go out in the heat. Like there's things you shouldn't eat. Like you shouldn't eat like a Big Mac and a double cheeseburger before you go out in the heat, because you'll die. You'll feel it. But if you eat watermelon and celery and papaya and fruits and vegetables or anything that you find out there, like I don't sweat. When I go out to the garden, I don't sweat a lot. I don't get hot. Like I'll be out there now and I won't get really hot because of what I eat, what I don't eat, and what I eat before I go out. And same's true with soccer. That I can play in the heat even at my age, and I think probably the reason that I can do that is because I've learned what to eat beforehand. There's certain foods that are very cooling. Cool as a what? Yeah. So cucumbers are one of those, and they grow in the heat of the summer. In the hottest time of the summer, you get cucumbers, and they're tremendously cooling food. Yes.
Can I eat the cucumber?
Yes. Someone cut this up in sections for her.
I'll eat it raw.
Yeah, it's very good raw.
Share it. We'll slice it.
I didn't grow that. Someone gave that to me at church. And so, so these are the ways we cope. And I've got this sugar repellent, but I don't really like spraying this stuff. And this is like an organic one. You're welcome to put this on. It'll be here. Use it outside. Don't spray bug spray inside, please. And the Amish hat. So I'm learning from the Amish now. I've got this hat, and problem is bees like to make nests, and then I put it on, I get stung. But we got these, and you guys brought some really great hats. And so, yeah. Oh, and then this is the soil probe. So we'll take this out there, and we'll push it in the ground, and you'll be able to tell if that soil's good soil, James, by the soil probe. Because if it's packed, you won't grow plants very well. The roots, like us, I see my carrots, and they look like the carrots when they grow in hard soil. They sort of like get squiggly because they can't get in, and they look like they're sort of like a spring, and instead of these long carrots. So it's very important for the soil to be soft. So, yeah. So I've talked a long time, and I'll wind it down. We'll have any questions?
Could you spend 2 minutes telling us who you serve with the food and the flowers?
Okay, yes. So we have a lot of cancer patients at Fellowship and outside of Fellowship that will come and get food, and they'll juice it. So they'll put it in a blender or IV juicer, and they do different therapies. And there are therapies to get nutrient density, to get nutrition into the blood, and to support the immune system. So a lot of cancer patients. We have a lot of poor people that come. So through the soccer ministry, we met a lot of people from the country of Burma, and they come and they distribute food to their community. Some are wealthy and some are poor. So a lot of immigrants. We take it to the branch ministry. We take it to the Heimerdinger Foundation, which is for cancer patients. That way they come and get it. And just the Nolensville Food Pantry. There's just so many places that come and get food. St. Andrews, One Gen Away. There's several places. So, you know, it looks very humble, but thousands of pounds of food will come out at the right time. And we also grow flowers. There are a lot of widows. These are kind of tired, but we grow flowers for widows. And so these are women that have lost their husbands and they're lonely and they're sad. And so these flowers encourage them. And so right now we have a lot. So that's one thing I want to do today while we're out there. I want to water some plants. And I want to fill these cups with flowers. A bit like that. That's like 2 weeks old or a week old. And they're pretty tired looking. But we have lots of flowers out there. Now, you know what happens when you pick a flower? What happens? What does the plant do when it loses its flower?
Starts.
They start growing again.
Yes. And who else had their hand up? That's the right answer. And someone else want to answer? So when you pick these flowers, 2 other flowers grow. So all the people, like we had loads of people come and get flowers this week, and they came back, more flowers. And so like when I grow lettuce, I'll give the lettuce away, but we only give it a haircut. We only take off about that much, and it grows back even faster. And you guys who mow the lawns, you know that when you cut the grass short, it grows faster, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just what the plant does. And so everything we pick today, it's going to spur the plants to grow even more. That's why 95% of the food that's grown here gets wasted. Isn't that amazing? We're pushing out thousands of pounds of food. But that's the way God works. God's a God of abundance and provision. Isn't that amazing? Don't we serve an amazing God? How's that cucumber?
It's good.
It's
Yep.
really good.
Now I'll tell you a little secret. I didn't grow those. But you're supposed to eat them when they're a little smaller. I'll show you what they're supposed to. I'll show you what a good cucumber looks like. I buy these from one of the markets. You can cut those and pass them out. So they're supposed to be small like that. But these get big and they get tough. But you guys, they're still good, right? They got little brown spots. But one of the things about growing food in a garden is you can eat the food in all different phases of life. Like I eat a lot of flowers. Did you know flowers are really good? Now you got to get the bugs out of them because a lot of times the ants are in there. But you can eat the cucumber flowers, and we'll eat some flowers out there. But don't eat any flower. Check with me first. But if anyone's really brave, I'll give you a flower to eat. You want to try a flower?
I definitely want to try.
Okay, good. I'll give you guys flour, okay. There's some electric fences out there, which if you like pain, then touch it, but I can shut it off. But if you run out there and I don't get to it first, so if you see a little strand of wire, I wouldn't recommend touching it, it will hurt.
Very spicy.
Oh yeah, try it. Is that
I'll
what
try a small bite.
Yeah.
Everybody else wants some?
Oh, that's very hot.
Now the
Eat some cucumbers after.
Anybody else want to try it? It's very spicy.
Maybe.
Okay.
Marshall's super spicy.
You don't want to try it.
Good breaking though.
So when we go out there, we're gonna water a little. We're gonna if you want to weed, there's always plenty of work to do in a garden. But the more you put into it, the more you're gonna get out of it. So I think the main thing is to there's it's a fascination. And a lot of it's a mystery, and a lot of it's revealed by God in Revelation. Like something bad will happen in the garden. I'll say, God, why did that happen? And I'll I get a spontaneous thought, and Paul, well, you didn't do this. And it's like, Paul, I'm not going to change the rules of botany for you. You're going to have to learn and study and do the good hard work of figuring out what you did wrong. And so, a lot of it's spiritual for me. And so we'll go out there and you'll ask any questions you want. We'll probe the soil with the soil probe. Don't probe your feet. I don't recommend that. And so this is something that we grow tea, we grow herbs, we grow a lot of fruit, we grow a lot of medicinal stuff.
Medicine.
Yeah. What's your question?
Do you grow oranges?
Oh, I would love to grow oranges. You don't know how badly I'd like to grow oranges, but there's I grow a lot of fruit. I grow a lot of figs. I love figs. And I've learned how to make beer and wine with figs. Cool. It's very easy. But I was drinking a little too much, so I stopped doing that for a while because it was affecting my soccer. But I grow pawpaws. You guys know what pawpaws are? Okay. 4,000 years ago, there was an animal that lived in Franklin, Tennessee that was really big. Does anyone know what it was?
Oh, no, I think I know what a pawpaw is though.
Yep, okay. But this animal ate the pawpaw. This was their food. Well, I saw a hand go up and he's scratching his head. Okay.
Giant sloth.
Close.
Woolly mammoth.
Yeah, it was a mastodon. And so when people gather arrowheads, they look for the mastodon kills because hundreds of people would kill a mastodon and all the spear tips and arrowheads would be in the ground there and they'd find them. So if you're finding mastodons, if you're finding arrowheads, you'd look for a mastodon kill. And so, but the mastodon ate the pawpaws and they would defecate the seeds, big word, and they would propagate them. But now they don't have any propagators, but it's a big fruit that's very sweet that grows here that I grow. I grow figs, I grow berries, I grow muscadines, lots of fruits, yes?
Blackberries?
I grow blackberries, but there's nobody to tend the blackberries yet. So they sort of just don't really do much, but you'll see them out there. I've grown a lot of thornless blackberries, and there's the world's largest blackberry called the Kiowa blackberry that grows really well here, but it has really big thorns. Yeah, and they're huge. They're 3 inches tall.
Dad, I think we had pawpaws at Elise.
At what?
Elise.
Very well.
That was a soursop.
Okay, yeah, if you come back here September 1st, we'll have figs and we'll have pawpaws. And so the group meets every Saturday at noon. I mean, not at noon, at 9 o'clock. We have volunteers come. But I'm out here a lot early in the morning. Yeah, your hand's up. Yes.
What's a pawpaw?
Yeah, I'll show you one, but you won't be able to eat it. It's a really sweet, yummy fruit that's a bit like a pineapple, a mango, and a banana put together. And the bark of the pawpaw tree is one of the most effective ways to treat cancer. It was synthesized and it's used in all different kinds of medicines. It's
Also closely related to the meemaw.
Yes,
That
we're
one
very
tastes like
closely
poppers.
related.
We have a pawpaw.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
I have a question.
yeah, Gregory.
If you can't get all your produce from a place like this, where would you suggest locally to get it? Like, is there a good grocery store that would?
It's all sterilized. So I was doing a nutrition demonstration at a big local organic farm, and I dropped a thing of kale on the ground, and I said, I handed it to the person that was helping me. I said, I dropped this on the ground. Can we have another one? And she goes, oh, and she took it in the back and dumped it into a tank of liquid and pulled it out, shook it, and gave it back. It's fine now.
Whoa.
Does anyone know what happened?
She sterilized.
You sterilized it. And hydrogen peroxide. And so, what do you lose when you sterilize the food?
All those things you were saying.
Yep. All the organisms and the enzymes, the things that the VIPs, the MVPs, the most valuable players. You kill all them and then wonder why you have trouble getting out of bed. Wonder why life isn't going very well. Why I'm having health problems. It's because I was killing everything that I needed to survive. And so that was I'm not going to give you the name, very reputable, organic CSA type place. It's tough. One of the things I do, I'll show you, is I sprout. I grow it in my house, in my kitchen. So I have these jars, and in here it's like lentils, fenugreek. I sprout a lot of stuff. You can watch my videos. And this is quinoa, and then you sprout it, and more lentils. I don't let it go that long with quinoa, but if I did, this would fill the jar 2 or 3 times. And where does the biomass come from when a plant is growing? How does it get all that biomass? Does anyone know? From the carbon and the nitrogen in the air.
Interesting.
Does it smell like banana?
They do get pretty interesting smells that smell really good and taste really good. But it's an acquired taste. If you're used to eating McDonald's French fries, you're not going to enjoy this kind of food.
Can I try some?
Yeah, you can try some.
Do you cook that then, or you just eat it raw?
You do both.
Does it taste
I eat it raw.
I'll try
Yep.
some raw.
Does it taste like a banana because it smells like a banana?
It's fermented.
It has a ferment to it. And that's one thing I learned with the figs. I was soaking the figs because I would buy them dry or I'd dry them. And they would turn into this most wonderful beer and wine. I was like, wow, this is good. And then I measured the alcohol content and it was like, whoa, there's a lot of alcohol in here. And maybe I'll tell your moms, instead of us trying this now, because we need to go out to the garden, I'm going to just tell your mom, all you do is you soak it overnight. It's on, and then you rinse it every 12 hours. But within 24 hours, you'll have sprouted quinoa. You can see the little tails.
Store-bought quinoa.
I buy it on Amazon. It's organic, and there's 3 different kinds. But yeah, it can be anywhere.
Costco's is organic.
And you'll be amazing you'll be amazed. A lot of the things you buy in the store will not sprout. Not one seed will sprout. And it's organic. And what would cause that? Sterilized, but they radiate it. So when you buy mangoes, like you buy fruit at the store, and it'll have a little sticker on it, so now it says radiated, and it doesn't taste as good, and it's a bit scary.
And the radiation is supposed to what?
Sterilize it
From the inside?
from the inside.
Like is the
Goes
radiation?
straight through.
Whole thing.
Yeah, it goes through the whole thing's just sterilized. Yeah, just nuked.
Because they're worried about just I guess possibility.
Parasites.
Yeah.
It won't rot as fast on the shelf.
Yep.
So they have a longer cell period.
Are you good? Are you guys ready to go out and do whatever Mr. Paul needs out in the garden?
Yes.
Does that work? Yeah, that's great. So put your hats on. We can go out the front door. One of the kids, can you take this? Okay. Yep.
Do I stop
And we'll get we'll need scissors and we'll need pruners. And,
There's a list. Don't
Rob.
fill
yeah, there's a restroom.
Rob, so Lydia left her hat in the back of the van.
Trust them.